Have you ever read a science paper and thought, these plots look absolutely horrendous, but they would also make a really good patchwork blanket? Chances are probably no, but in my case I have. Hello, welcome to the channel, or welcome back if you're a returning viewer. My name's Seti, I'm a PhD student studying galactic dynamics, which means I read a lot of papers, some of which with very interesting plots. Within the past few months of my PhD, I've come across a couple of interesting plots, or papers rather, focusing specifically on phase spirals, or the Gaia spiral, or Gaia snail. There's many words for it, but basically this is just a very interesting spiral feature that arises when you plot certain features of, the stars within the Milky Way. So for example, their height above or below the galactic plane with their vertical velocity. I will spare you all of the technicalities. We won't focus on that right now. Instead, this is going to be a purely creative video. But yeah, I saw lots of these interesting plots, and some of them I found to be quite interesting to look at, quite overwhelming at times, and I actually did get roasted in my group, in my journal club, for posting one of them. But when I saw these plots, I thought that they would make a really good patchwork blanket. Alongside that, I have been throughout this year taking a lot more measures to use up what I have in terms of my yarn stash, so trying to be a little bit more mindful with my purchases. Please ignore all of the yarn behind me because I do have purposes for them. I am going to use them up, but I am being a little bit more mindful about the kind of yarn that I bring in and trying to use things up. And I did have a lot of these multicolored, like soft print colored cotton yarns from Hobie that are absolutely amazing, but for the longest time I haven't had sort of any ideas as to what to do with them. However, these plots gave me just like this light bulb moment of creativity in my brain, and I thought I could actually turn them into a bit of a funky rainbow blanket. So the plan of action is I'm not going to be recreating any one of these plots specifically or identically in terms of the colours. Instead, what I was thinking of keeping things very colourful, of course, but trying to also keep more of a plain black background. And so what I'm going to do is hopefully make a bunch of squares with little spirals in them, all of which with different colours. Basically just go through my stash and just piece them together into a very rainbowy quilt. I'm not sure if I want to sort of like pattern out the colours to make any sort of gradient, or if I want to keep it random. I will just make all of the coloured squares all in one go and then join them up and sort of pattern things out later on. So here are all of the yarns. I've got 9 colours in total plus the black yarns. So yeah, I'm going to just be making little spiral squares out of all of these colours. From my calculations for a nice big square blanket, I don't want to just do a 9x9, so have one colour repeat for every row, otherwise the blanket will just be too small. Instead, what I'm going to be doing, if I can remember the numbers correctly, I'm going to be making a 16x16 square. So that means a couple of the colours will repeat in each row, but it will all be hopefully randomly jumbled around, so you won't be able to tell really. But yeah, I might, depending on how I feel about all of the positioning of the coloured spirals, I might maybe make a gradient or like do some sort of like colour scaling. I'm not really sure, but for now the plan of action is just to make it really random and sort of just very rainbowy. So these are all Hobie printed cotton yarns, 4-ply specifically, that I've bought over the past few years. Some of them have been discontinued and then have just been reintroduced as a different sort of label, with very slightly different changes to the way that the colour print is printed, if you see what I mean. So for example, the yellow and the blues I have are a really nice soft print, so probably on camera you won't be able to tell the gradient much, but there is a slight change in the colours. It's really subtle, which is what really drew me to these in the first place. It's the same with the pink and the orange and the dark purple as well. I bought these 5 years ago now, so I really should be using them up. And of course, I am making some progress. I've made a couple test squares, which I'll show you as well in a second. But in terms of the newer one, I've also bought This was also, I think, like 3 or 4 years ago. The soft print in the lilac as well, but it's slightly different to that one for some reason. And then there was also the rainbow cotton soft print, or rainbow cotton print as well, which was a slightly different colorway. This is more of a light turquoise, which is really pretty when worked up into a spiral. But of the more recent prints that they're doing on Hobie, I bought the red and the green. They must have thought I'd be making some Christmas projects, but no, that's not true at all. And these have a lot harsher colour differences within the yarn, so you can really, I'm sure the camera can actually pick it up, but you can really see like dark burgundy to orange here. So it's a lot brighter, a lot more contrast, and it's the same with the green, but when it's worked up, it actually is really pretty. I've also got one of the spirals here that I've been testing just to show you guys, and I think it looks really nice. I think when you piece them up together, what I really like is that the spiral takes up most of the granny square, so there isn't that much sort of void or dark, just black space, which is really nice. I really want the colour to sort of, you know, come through without using up too much of it, because I am a little bit more limited on the amount of colours or the amount of coloured yarn that I have, so I have to be a little bit more careful about this. But I'm really happy with these spirals, and I think I'm going to go ahead and just create a whole bunch of them, 144 to be exact. With this one done, it's 143, but I've got quite a few that I've also made and tested out the other colours as well, and you'll see them in a bit. Okay, hopefully you can see this. My phone is balancing on a lampshade and my desk and a bunch of other stuff, so hopefully it will be nice and stable, but I'm very sorry if it isn't. But I think it will suffice for now. But yeah, you can see the an example of one of these spirals that I've got over here. But yeah, I just wanted to show you kind of in a little bit more detail what it actually looks like over here. So you can see we've got a magic loop over here where we make half of the cast-ons, oh, not cast-ons, we're crocheting, half of the foundation round or magic loop stitches are going to be in black and half in the other color, and then that ratio will pretty much be the same for the rest of the spiral. So half the stitches for the next round will be in the colored yarn, and then the other half will be in the black yarn, and then it will be exactly the same until we get to the end, and that's where we'll taper off with some smaller stitches and then continue on with the black, creating a squared edge. Okay, hopefully you can see this pretty well. I'm also going to be using this as sort of a reference to make sure that I'm working in the right space over here, because I can't really see the camera very well from this angle, but the point is you can see the yarn pretty clearly from here. So yeah, this is basically the square in more detail. You can see that it's all pretty much entirely made up of double crochets, but we do start off with a couple single crochets and half double crochets, and we do end with the same as well, in order to sort of make the curve a little bit smoother and make the start a little bit smoother as well. But yeah, the rest of it is just double crochets, and then when we get to the end, once we've tapered off with the coloured yarn and cut it off, we just stick with the black yarn, and that's when we use double crochets, half doubles, singles, all of which to create the squared edge around it. So I haven't measured out the squares as of yet, but I might as well just do that now. So across the square, I'm forgetting words now, it's about 9 centimeters in width, and then in its diagonal width it is just shy of 10.5 centimeters over here as well. So they are quite, I mean, they're quite small. They fit in the palm of your hand. So because this is made with 4-ply yarn, of course if you double up the yarns, so if you, with the Hobie yarns, you have an easy pull center, and of course you can use the outer skein. You can just use those double, and you can get a square that's a lot larger, of course, and it will be much quicker to actually work the blanket. But for me, I'm just using 4-ply. I'm really challenging myself here. So these will be quite small. You'll have to make quite a lot of these. I'm actually going to sit down this time so I won't hurt my back when crocheting. But thankfully these squares are actually really quick to make. They're only 15 minutes once you get the hang of it and make the first few. So they are actually quite quick. So what we're going to do is start off with a magic ring. You can do 3 or 4 single crochets and then slip stitch in and then work that way, but I think a magic loop is a little bit neater in this case. So we're going to make a magic loop, chain 1, and then make 1 single crochet. We're then going to make 2 half double crochets and then 3 double crochets, and that will leave us with 6 stitches total with the coloured yarn. So 2 half double crochets, so that's 3 stitches total, and then 3 double crochets. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, perfect. We're going to pull the loop up and leave it as is, and then we're going to make a slip knot with not quite a long tail, but a couple centimeters, tail of a couple centimeters of the black yarn. So slip knot there, and then in the magic loop we're now going to make 1 standing single crochet, 2 half double crochets, and then 3 double crochets. So we're kind of just repeating what we've done here, and you'll find that that is the pattern for pretty much, well, the standard for pretty much all of the rows. Whatever you do with one color, you do the exact same with the other in order to make the spiral not quite symmetrical, because technically they aren't symmetrical, but for it to have rotational symmetry, let's just say that. So standing single crochet done, 2 half double crochets, 1, 2, and then 3 double crochets. And I do recognize that the black yarn is a little bit difficult to see, but if you are ever confused, what you do with the black yarn is the same as the colored yarn, so there isn't really any difference. And I think that is 3, 4, 5, 6, yep. I'm just going to pull some more yarn from the cone, and then we're not going to actually pull up the loop here, we're just going to continue working with the black for now. We'll just tighten this magic loop a little bit. What we're going to do in the single crochet, so the coloured single crochet, and then in every single stitch in with the coloured yarn, we're going to be making 2 double crochets. So that's 2 double crochets in each of the next 6 stitches, which totals to 12 double crochets. So it's a little bit difficult to get into the first single crochet there, but yeah, there we go. And what I like to do is I like to weave in my ends as I go, so I'm just going to pull the tail tight and then wrap it on top of the stem of the stitch, not the stem, the top of the stitches, and then just leave it there and work my double crochets. So there's 1, oops, 2 double crochets, so that's the first stitch worked. Do that 5 more times. Six. So now we're going to pull the loop to make it really large, and then just leave the black yarn as is, because we can't work any more stitches. We have to actually continue with the coloured yarn now. Just making sure you can still, yeah, you can still see that. Okay, so put our crochet hook back into the coloured yarn. We're going to be working that, and we're going to be doing basically exactly the same thing. 2 double crochets in each of the next 6 stitches, totaling to 12 double crochets. So work it into the first single crochet. Once again, I will be weaving in the ends as I go. That's 1, 2, so that's the first stitch done. Okay, and we'll continue working with the coloured yarn since we're already here, might as well. For the next round, well, we've basically completed 1 round. It might not look like it because we're not working a perfect circle, but this is the first round. For the next round, all we're going to do is, in a very similar fashion to the way that we make circles, In the first stitch we're going to make 2 double crochets, and then in the next stitch we're going to make 1 double crochet, and then we're going to repeat that 5 more times, totaling to 6, and that will increase our stitch count from 12 double crochets on this side, over there, up to 18. So it's very similar to the way that we make circles with double crochets. So 2 double crochet, then 1 double crochet. There we go, final double crochet. Pull the loop up, make it large, and then we're going to drop the coloured yarn and pick up back where we were with the black yarn. And then we're going to do the exact same thing. So in each of the next 12 stitches, we're going to be making 2 double crochet, then 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, then 1 double crochet. So that's 2 double crochets in that stitch, and then it's 1 double crochet. And we're going to repeat that 5 more times, totaling to 6 repeats. Okay, that's all done. That's our second round, second round complete. If you are a little bit confused as to where you need to stop, if you have a look at the stitches below here, you'll notice that all of the stitches that we've worked below are just 2 double crochet, 2 double crochet, 2 double crochet. And you'll see the next set of stitches, we've got 2 double crochet, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, 1 double crochet. So you know that this is the start of the round that you've just worked, so you don't work in that 2 double crochet. Well, we are actually going to be working in it now because we're working on the next round. So for the next round, I'm sure you can guess what we're going to be doing. It's 2 double crochet in the next stitch and 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet. So we're going to repeat that six times in total, bringing our stitch count up from 18 stitches up to 24 stitches for each colour. So there's 1, 2 double crochet in the first stitch, and then 1 double crochet in the next 2 stitches here, and then once we repeat that 5 more times, we'll be right at the end of the coloured yarn, so we won't be able to work anymore anyways. And then once we finish that, we're going to do the exact same with the coloured yarn once, and then we'll basically be done with the spiral. Okay, we've just got 1 more repeat to do. It's 2 double crochets, 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet. Brilliant, so we've come to the end of what we need to do with the black yarn, apart from squaring things off, but we'll get to that later. We'll just pull a loop, nice large loop, and then change back to the coloured yarn. Oops, nearly got rid of a stitch there. There we go. Nice, so for this, all we're going to do is basically exactly the same. 2 double crochets in the first stitch, 1 double crochet in the next, 1 double crochet in the next, and we're going to repeat that 6 times total. Is that the end of it? Yes, indeed it is. So I'm just going to lay that out flat. That is our final round of spirals, or final spiral round. You can see it looks quite nice. You can sort of see the resemblance of, well, I guess the circularness of it now. It doesn't look so teardrop shaped, which is still nice, but yeah, this is a lot easier to turn into, well, now it's a lot easier to turn into a square now. So we're going to be finishing off with this coloured yarn. All we're going to do is slowly taper it off into nothingness. So we're going to make 2 half double crochets, and then 2 single crochets, and then we're going to make a slip stitch, chain 1 to fasten off, and then we're going to cut a, not exactly a very long tail, but I'd say around 4 to 5 centimeters is ideal. Pull that through, and we're done with the coloured yarn. Lovely. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do the same for, well, 5 stitches with the black yarn, and then get ready for squaring the spiral into a square, obviously. But as we do that, what I'm going to be doing is also working in the end here, and so basically once we're done we won't actually have to weave any ends, which is great, especially when you have 144 of these. So let's get back with using the black yarn. We're going to make 2 half double crochets, 1, and then in the next one, 1, and then a single crochet in the next 2 stitches, 2 slip, and then we're going to chain 2, and these chain 2s do not count as a double crochet. So now that we've chained 2, we're going to start off by making one of the corner stitches, and all you have to do with this is into the same stitch that we've made the slip stitch and chain 2, we're going to make 2 double crochets, a chain 1 and 2 double crochets, all in this stitch. So 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, and I need to pull up a lot more yarn. There we go. So that's 1 corner stitch done. And then in the next few stitches we're going to make 1 double crochet, 3 half double crochet, well, 1 double crochet in the next stitch, 1 half double crochet in the next 3 stitches, a single crochet in the next 3 stitches, 1 half double crochet in the next 3 stitches, and then a double crochet. The pattern is double crochet, 3 half doubles, 3 singles, 3 half doubles, double. So 1 3 3 3 1. So we'll make 1 double crochet, oops, and we're not making any increases here, so 1 stitch in each stitch basically, apart from the corner stitches over here, so that's what creates the flat sort of squared off look. So we've made 1 double crochet, 1 half double in the next 3, so 1, 2, 3, that's 3 half doubles total, and then we're going to do 3 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, 3 half doubles, 1, 2, 3, a double crochet, and then we're going to make another corner stitch. So that's 2 half double, no, not 2 half doubles, 2 double crochets, chain 1, and then 2 double crochets, all of which are in the same stitch. Oh, that rhymes, that's pretty cool. Should quit being a PhD student, I'm going to become a poet now. Okay. Yeah, so between the corner stitch and then up to that last double crochet, that is our repeat, and we're just doing that 4 times. So we've made the corner stitch already for the next repeat. We're going to repeat the same, 1 double crochet, and then 3 half doubles. That's 1. I'm just going to put the yarn, well, put the tail over here and start working it in between the stitches. So that's 1 half double, 2, 3, 3 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, 3 half doubles, 1, 2, 3, and then a double crochet, and that's our second repeat done. And what you should find if you're consistent with all of these stitches and the spacings, you will find that your the start of your third repeat, so your third corner stitch, will always be in this slip stitch, and you can use this as a checkpoint to make sure that your stitch count is correct. So if you know you're wrong here, you know you only have to work back up to half the stitches in this round, and if you know you're wrong after here, you know that, well, this checkpoint, you've matched this checkpoint, you only need to work back those half the stitches. So it's a really ideal sort of thing to make sure is correct. And what I like to do when it comes to working in the slip stitches is I'll work the first half of the corner stitch, so the first 2 double crochets into that slip stitch, and then the other 2 double crochets I'll work in the stitch below, and that sort of just sort of smooths it out a little bit, because I do notice sometimes that while the slip stitch is a very shallow stitch, it can still have a little bit of a raised sort of bumpiness to it. So I will make into the slip stitch the first 2 double crochets. You don't have to follow this, by the way, but yeah, the first 2 double crochets, chain 1, and then in the stitch below, so directly where you've made the slip stitch, I will make the other 2 double crochets. But once again, you don't have to do this if it just complicates things for you. Okay, we're basically on to the third repeat now. So we've made the corner stitch, we'll just do 1 double crochet, 3 half doubles, 1, 2, 3, 3 singles, 1, 2, 3, 3 half doubles, 1, 2, whoops, I need to pull up some more yarn, 3, I think that was the third one, wasn't it? Yes, it was. And then a double crochet, and we're ready to do the final repeat, starting with the corner stitch. So 2 double crochets, chain 1, and then 2 double crochets again. Good, 3 half doubles, that's done. And then you can see here I've just got 1 stitch left, and that will be for the double crochet. All we need to do now is fasten off. So what you can do is don't work into the chain stitches. I know you can barely see it with this lighting and with the black yarn, but don't work into the chain stitches. Instead, work into the double crochet, the first one, and you'll just make a slip stitch and then chain 1 to fasten off. And you don't need to have a long tail for this. Oops. Just pull that out, and then there we go. There is our spiral. It's going to look a little bit wonky at the start, and that is mainly just because a spiral isn't a perfect circle, so you're going to have slightly different heights at different points of the square, all of which can be removed with blocking, mostly. But yeah, I think I quite like how it sort of adds a little bit of a natural variation to it anyway, so I am not complaining. And then of course when we join things up, we can always just add a little bit of tension here and there when you need to, yeah, just to make things look a little bit neater if you so wish it. But yeah, there is one of our many spirals that we need to do. Yeah. So I have found specifically that actually the amount of spirals I can get out of the ball does decrease with the make or the batch of yarn, mainly because the newer batches of the Hobie Friends cotton actually has 10 less meters than the older versions of the soft print and the Cotton King soft print over here, which is a shame, but it doesn't really matter. It's still 50 grams of yarn. But yeah, all in all, I think with the older ones, I mean, with both of the versions of yarn, with all of the yarns, you're able to get 16 of those out of one ball of yarn. Easy peasy, with plenty to spare for the border if I choose to make one, which I probably will. But yeah, I think you could probably get maybe even like another 4 or 5 out of the bigger ones, maybe like 3 or 4 out of the newer sort of less metery, less yardy cotton yarns. So yeah, you can make quite a lot of them, and of course when you're buying 9 different colors for this, so you can make a pretty big blanket out of this. Well, that took a long while. I think I started this in, I want to say March, April, I really cannot remember, but it is now nearing the end of July and I've only just finished. We've got 18 squares for each colour, 9 colours in total, so 18 times 9 is 180 minus 18, 170, 162. So that did take quite a while. I will probably never make a blanket using 4-ply yarn held single ever again. But this was quite handy to do on commutes, such as when I was going to conferences and stuff. It was really great to do on the train, and also in the evenings when I had nothing else planned. So I was able to get quite a lot done during the National Astronomy meeting. But with that all being said, I think it's about time I start to join all of these pieces together and finally actually make a blanket. In terms of the arrangements, I'm not really entirely sure what to do just yet. I've put the options down to an Instagram poll for my friends to vote on. I'm either going to do it in a rainbow format because I've got plenty of colours to actually make quite a soft gradient, or I can do it completely random where it'll just be all over the place. I am more leaning towards doing a rainbow style format, and it seems from the initial results of the poll that that might also be the case, so that's probably what I'm going to do, but I will just check back in 10 minutes to see the results of the poll, and then I will yeah, just show you like a quick layout example and then how I'm going to stitch it up. These colours look so good. I'm really pleased with how they look. I mean, just the red's so vibrant and all of it together, it's just, oh, it's so good, it's so good. So the results are in. It seems like we'll be doing a gradient rainbow, which I've just laid out an example of it here. It's just a 9 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sample, so it's going to be a lot bigger than this, obviously, but this is all I could fit on the camera and all I could fit on my bed. But yeah, this is an example of how it's going to look. I think it looks pretty spectacular, and I really like how the colours flow. And what's really good is that initially when I had decided to make the 18 squares for each colour, that was before I had found the pink yarn in my stash. And I'm really glad I did, because I think it really sort of connects the red and the purple really well, so I'm glad I found it. But yeah, that was initially when I had 8 colours, so that would have allowed me to make, I think, 144 squares and have things be quite even in terms of the colour combinations. I'm not sure, but yeah, so I've made 18 squares of 9 colours now, which bumps the total square count up to 162, so this is going to be quite a big blanket. Overall, this is how it's going to look, just much bigger. So I guess I should just try and stitch everything up. So yeah, I'm not sure what to do regarding that. I think I might just go with a simple slip stitch border. I don't really want to sew everything up. I'd rather just crochet it really simply. Okay, we've got 1 row complete. This didn't take all that long, actually. The way I did it, I should probably explain this if I'm going to try and like teach you how to do these things, is I did a slip stitch join. You can barely see the black on the camera. I'm so sorry. Oh, that's the price we pay for style, I guess. But yeah, it was just a slip stitch bind off. I did it all in one go with 1 round, so you can see that the sides haven't actually been joined yet. Instead, I've just joined one side of each all the way up to the end, and then later on I'm going to repeat this for each round, so I'm going to then attach these ones on and continue along all the way up to the end. I do have a lot more over there which I haven't actually placed over there just because my bed is just too small. It looks so cool from this angle. I'm sorry, I'm in love with this so much. But yes, as I was saying, I joined these up on one side and I'm going to continue doing that for the entire thing, and then later on I will then fold them sideways and then attach it all the way. And the reason you want to do this as opposed to doing it individually in small amounts and then joining them up as you go is because this saves on a lot of weaving in of ends if you just do it in one continuous bit, and it doesn't really affect the corners much at all, I have found from previous blankets. So I think that should be completely fine, and yes, you won't have to weave in nearly as many ends, which is absolutely fantastic. Alongside that, I also I wove in the ends as I went along for probably around 80% of all of these squares. So you can see in here that I was weaving it in as I was working each of the rows. So everything, all the little ends here, I can just cut off when they're done, which is great because I don't have to do that much weaving in, which is fantastic when you have 162 squares in total. Although conversely, I do have probably around 20%. So maybe like 10 or 20 squares where I didn't do that initially. So I will still have to weave in some ends. So not perfect technique, but I have learned now. I've learnt my lesson. But yeah, I'm just going to continue doing my little slip stitch join. The way that I did this, I'll see if I can actually, if I just join these two together here, you can sort of see that we have, I guess, for each of these squares, you can see that the top of these stitches, you've got these two this chain-like structure. Oh, can you please focus? Can you just about see that? Yeah, you've got this chain-like structure at the top of all of your stitches. What you want to do when you fold them together is, rather than work through both of those chains, you just want to work through the top two here. Oh, you can... The focus is terrible on my phone. I'm really sorry about this. Okay, there we go. You can just about see that. So yeah, you want to work only on the top one and not the inner chain over here. So not the actual like bottom chain over here. And what this is going to do is just create a nice little ridge that will allow it to lay flat. If you work both of them, it won't lay flat and it will actually sort of pucker up a little bit, which can be resolved through, you know, steaming the blanket and giving it a little block, which you should be doing anyway. But this does provide a little bit more of a clean finish, which is, you know, what I prefer. After 3 days of just slip stitching all of those squares together, I am finally done with that. And oh my goodness, I cannot believe that the blanket looks so nice and like neat and rainbowy. Like, it's just absolutely amazing. I'll show you. Okay, quick disclaimer. I have been sewing with a lot of cotton velvet and just making a couple sewing projects. So I'm really sorry that the floor just looks awful, but oh my goodness, it looks so amazing. The rainbow is just, oh, it's so cool. And like all of it is just so neat. I really feel like the camera doesn't capture how vibrant the colours are. I always have to like add the vibrance back in like post editing when I'm editing all of my like videos together, but oh my goodness, it looks absolutely amazing. I'm so in love with it, and it looks so neat as well and like really even together. And I think the join looks quite good as well. It's got quite a nice little neat ridge as well, which is quite good as well. If you find that your tension varies quite a lot, and mine kind of did, I have to admit, this little extra gap can sort of add a bit of a buffer when you go into steaming the blanket, just to sort of fudge things together if you need it to be that way. I mean, you can always use a different join, of course, so I'm not telling you what to do. You can do whatever you want. But yeah, I think the next stage, because the ends are a little bit bumpy and just I don't know, it looks a little bit unfinished. We definitely need to add a border. I'm thinking she's definitely long enough for the blanket that I was hoping for. She's a little bit, she's a bit narrower than I would imagine, but she's pretty much just long enough for what I want. So I think the border should be, I don't know, I've got quite a bit of yarn left over, but not a lot from each colour. So it can't be something really sort of big. And also I want the spirals to really stand out and be the main thing. So I'm wondering what to do. I think I might just add a border of half double crochets just around the entire perimeter of the blanket in each colour. And given that I have the least of, what do I have the least amount of? I think it's pink, because I only have one ball of that, and that's mostly used up now from the spirals. And everything else I have at least one more ball left over, so it'll have to start with pink, and then I think I'll go, oh, I don't know, should I go purple towards red or red towards purple? I'm not sure. I think I'll go purple towards red. Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. But yeah, I'll do some half double crochet border with each colour. That will sort of thicken it out quite a fair amount, but thankfully it won't need any joining or any like slip stitches or anything like that, so that shouldn't be too much of an ask for me. I figured I would actually start with black. That's just to make sure that it all looks even before I move over to the colours, because it could look a little bit wonky. I don't know, I'm very sleepy right now. I decided to do a workout for two consecutive days, which, given the intensity of my workouts, isn't very smart of me, let's say. And then on top of that, I decided to walk to the nearest town and do my grocery shopping there, which was a bit silly of me because it's like 2 miles away, so there and back, plus all of the meandering in between it. Oh my goodness, my legs are fried. But okay, yes, half double crochets in every stitch. Also, we want to make corner stitches. For that, I think you should do the exact same thing as what you did for the last round of the squares. So for each corner stitch, or well, corner chain in the chain, you make two half double crochets this time, chain one, 2 half double crochets, and then in every other stitch it's going to be 1 half double crochet, assuming your tension hasn't changed, which it shouldn't do. So yeah, we'll start in a corner and make 2 half double crochets. And I've already messed it up. Great. I need a break. I find that when it comes to knitting, I can look at the camera perfectly fine, well, mostly fine, while I'm knitting, and I don't make any mistakes. But when it comes to crochet, it's really difficult, so I'm very sorry if I don't look at the camera all that often. I'm finding that this project is quite economical as well. Well, it's crochet, so it's going to take up a lot of yarn, but given that I've used 9 different colours, provided you've got quite a lot of like a base colour, it actually doesn't use that much of each of them, so it hasn't even used up all of the 50-gram skeins or balls that are on my shelf over there. So I think you could probably count it as like a scrap busting project. So that's pretty good. It depends on how much the border takes up. I'm kind of hoping it does just about use up all of the leftover yarn and nothing more, so I can just, you know, I don't have to throw any yarn away, or I don't have any like really weird small scraps that I actually can't use for anything. Okay, I should probably also say, once you get to a join, so I've just done the first square, once you get to a join, that is basically, you know, the union between 2 chain stitches for each square. So it is technically 1 stitch, so I would do a half double crochet in that as well, and then just continue on like normal with the next square. So you can see that it looks much neater. Over here you can see it's a lot more continuous on the ends, which is exactly what you want, compared to, say, you know, the very bumpy ends over here. I'll start with pink, go from purple, lilac, turquoise, light blue, green, yellow, whatever, all the way up to red, using the moss stitch. And then I'll just do a very simple black border, or maybe I might not do that at all, and just stop at red and say that's it. Actually, that's a good idea. Don't want to do too much for this blanket anymore. I'm a little bit tired of it. So yeah, I'll do that as my border. Just keep it plain, keep it rustic looking. And then I think we'll just skip over to the reveal, because I feel like you know what that border would look like. So yeah, I'll just continue along doing that, starting from pink, ending with red. And then I think I'll just meet you for the final reveal. I feel like this video is going to be very long anyway, so I won't waste your time too much with just me crocheting. You know what I'm doing. Oh my goodness, this blanket is quite nice. You can just sleep with it. But yeah, I'll just meet you at the end with a reveal when it is finally sunny outside and it has stopped thunderstorming. And yeah, we'll go from there. So after 4 months of lots of crocheting and making a lot of pieces and joining them together, we finally have a blanket. And I am unbelievably proud of this blanket. I showed it to my supervisor a couple days ago and he said it was amazing. So yeah, what can I say? I'm really happy with the final result. It is on the smaller side. That's mainly because I have a single bed and I wouldn't really want something too big that would like overflow anyway, so it is ideal, the kind of size that I've gone for. I'm really glad we're going with the rainbow design. I think that really works super well and it sort of blends in together and sort of creates this really nice striped effect, which I really like. But yeah, I'm really happy with the final result. And also I've used up quite a lot of my yarn stash, so I think in total I used almost all of the 500-gram cone, and then on top of that I have used pretty much all of the 9 colours that I used. I have really tiny scraps left, so like maybe 2 meters worth of yarn per colour, so not a lot. And I think with the pink yarn I actually used it up almost completely, so that will have to just be used for I guess lifelines and stuff like that. I really can't turn it into anything else, so I'm really glad I was able to use up so much yarn. I think in total that is around 450 grams of the colours, yeah, of the colours, and then of course 500 grams-ish, give or take a little bit, of the black. So that was almost a kilo of yarn that I've used up in this, and it's, yeah, it is quite hefty. Cotton is quite a dense yarn, so if you size this up to a DK, which I did with a couple blankets previously, cotton, because it has a much higher density, yes, you do use a lot more of it, so it can be a bit more pricey, but it makes a really good weighted blanket that's actually breathable and not made of, you know, polyester and stuff like that. So it's really good for that if you like weighted blankets. But yeah, I have nothing else to say apart from the fact I have just remembered I have actually written up a pattern for this, and included in that, it's going to be like a properly written pattern. I go through the squares round by round, and also like the recommended amount of squares you want for the 4-ply yarn, that if you choose to use the same ones. Some of the colours are also discontinued as well, so I've given some recommendations for an alternative colourway that is similar in, you know, style, but maybe just it might be a little bit different, all of which from Hobie, so you don't have to, you know, go and get loads of like yarns from different places, so it's all in one place. Yes, so the pattern will be released hopefully in the next few days. I'll try and get some pictures and post them on like Instagram and Blue Sky and all that kind of stuff as well, which will link to it. Yeah, and I'll also link to the pattern in the description below as well. It's going to be free, of course, just a free download, but yeah, it'll include all of the sizing for single, double and queen size bed, and also like individually how many squares of each colour do you need, because it's not going to be the same throughout except for the single bed, because it was 9 squares by, I think it was 20 squares long, so it, you know, you only need 20 of each colour, but for the double and the queen you actually need varying amounts depending on how many you've got width-wise, so keep that in mind. And I've also got a recommended layout which uses the square number counts correctly, and you know, yeah, I planned it all out. It's all in the pattern, and yeah, if you really want to make it, I recommend you do, and if you do make it, I would love to see some pictures of it. So if you have Ravelry, I would love to see any project pictures. I mean, you can always just send them as well on my Instagram or my Blue Sky. Yeah, it would be absolutely lovely to see anything that you make with these spiral squares, whether it be blankets or something different, of course. But yeah, I have yapped for way too long. Oh, I even wove in all of the ends as well, as you can see, hence why it took so long. So yeah, that was quite difficult, but it was really great to do on the bus and during meetings when they didn't require my full attention, of course. But yeah, that's all I have to say. Thank you very much for watching, and I really hope this inspires you to use up some of your scrap yarn to do something, whether it be this blanket or something completely different. It was a great project, and it was lovely to have you watch it and join me as I make this behemoth of a blanket. But yes, I will see you very soon in the next video, which will definitely be more on the sciencey side, but I hope you stick around even if you are more into just crochet and knitting. Bye for now.